The goal of the show is to help you break in and thrive in advertising and marketing. Welcome back to our brand side segment. We're interviewing people agency professionals report to. This episode, you're going to learn from Brooke Brown. Brooke Brown is the SVP, head of brand and creative at US Bank. So, very interesting stuff here. Her career is a little bit of agency side and brand side that you're going to learn a lot from. US Bank, obviously a large corporation here, lots going on in the marketing department. So you'll walk with me on this journey, learning how she tackles all the different strategies, tactics within that brand. Project management skills, good for people that want to go into account management, but also interacting with creatives. Really good episode for you agency professionals, learn what the brand side cares about and vice versa. If you have any questions, you want to reach out, you follow us on LinkedIn at Breaking Entering Media. We also post advertising news you need to know in 60 seconds or less. Now on with the show. This is the Breaking and Entering Brand Side podcast. And as usual, I'm your accomplice, Gino Schellenberger. Kick it, Mikey. All right, Brooke Brown, welcome to the Breaking and Entering Brand Side podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Gino. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thanks for coming on. Where are you calling in from, Brooke?
I'm calling in from Minneapolis. Right behind me, you probably can't see it, but we have the wonderful US Bank Stadium in downtown.
Okay, this makes sense now. Okay, because if people clicked on this, they understand you're the SVP, head of brand and creative at US Bank. So it's conveniently located there. It's all making sense. Brooke, we're going to talk to you. I'm going to learn a little bit about marketing. Our audience is going to learn about you, US Bank, how you broke into this, and your best advice to break into marketing. How does that run a show sound?
That sounds terrific. Let's get started.
Let's do this. First and foremost, very important stuff. What do you like to do outside of work, Brooke?
Oh my gosh, I like to be outside, almost anything outside. Right now, the height of summer, it's running, it's weeding, it's gardening, it's spending time with my kids all over the community. I have the pleasure of serving on the Arboretum Board of Trustees here. And so getting out and learning where food is coming from and all the innovation happening in that space is something that really lights us up.
And what is your, if somebody is visiting Minneapolis, the St. Paul area, where do they have to go? What are your two must stops, whether it's food or an attraction of some sort? You got two recommendations, must visits. What are they?
Okay, if it's summer, you must visit the farmers market in downtown St. Paul. It's incredible. It's all local, worth checking out, aisles of great produce and people. You also have to check out the lakes if you're in the Twin Cities. If you only have a short amount of time, get yourself out to Lake Minnetonka and see how beautiful it is. Put yourself on a boat and drink it all in. If you have a weekend, get up north to Lake Superior and check out the North Shore. It's absolutely restorative and beautiful. I recommend it to everyone.
Oh, I love that. Great recommendations. Thank you very much. Now let's get into it. Brooke, what does it mean to be SVP, head of brand and creative at US Bank? What is your role?
Oh, my role is to drive preference for our brand, create awareness, support consideration across the diversity of our enterprise. We have, of course, a retail bank serving consumers, small businesses. We have a middle market team and corporate commercial banking teams partnering with some of the largest corporations in the country. We have an institutional team and also an exceptional wealth management team. And so if you think about all those business lines, our job as a brand is to position us in the best light, to create a feeling and an openness to learning about our products and services across a range of activations, which include things you expect, like advertising and content and social and thought pieces, and also partnerships and events through our sponsorships and events team. It's an awesome seat and really fun.
Oh my goodness. Yes, I could see how that would be a lot here. What is you started this role about 6.5 years ago. What was the first thing when you walked in that surprised you the most or got you the most excited about this brand?
You know what I love about US Bank from the day I met them, which goes back even further in the past than 6 years ago, is the quality of our people. We really do partner with our clients closely. I like to tell a story around doing a secret shop of US Bank, actually, when I was on the agency side of things and getting to know the brand. And I was delivered the best no on an ambitious financial product I was going after. I knew it was probably out of my realm at that age of my life. And I had the best conversation with a US banker who didn't just say, this isn't for you. He said, not yet, and here's how. And it was the best kind of experience for someone like me to learn what the intrinsics of our brand and our people really were. And now I get to see that at scale across our 70,000 employees, all of our branches and business lines. This unique form of partnership is really special at US Bank.
Wait, so you were secret shopping? What does that entail? Like you're trying to get some insight, you're undercover? Is that,
Undercover,
yeah.
getting to know a brand like a lot of agencies do. You're getting ready to pitch a piece of business and you need to get smart on the
Mhm.
services and what they have to offer. And there's no better way than as a consumer to go test things out. Lucky for me, I have an active consumer life myself. It was an easy phone call. They were in my neighborhood, a brand I'd known, and were definitely in my consideration set. So it was a natural, like pick up the phone and add it to my short list of things to do and understand as we were getting to know the brand and the business.
Oh my gosh, that's so smart. That's good advice for anybody on the advertising or marketing side to go and experience the product or service firsthand if possible. I think that's such great advice. Or I've heard stories of people saying they went to the factories of like the consumer packaged good to see how they're made, tested it out, meet the people making the product. I think that is all so helpful.
The front line is a trove of knowledge. They have the deepest and clearest understanding of consumer needs. They also understand where innovation can happen. And sometimes innovation is a small action that needs a big idea. Sometimes you've got to go where the ideas are popping in the conversation in the front line, whether it's a service business or a manufactured good. There's nothing like walking the floor.
Absolutely, absolutely. So your role today, I think, was probably looks a lot different than 6 years ago. Like, what is top of mind for you right now? What's the vision? What are the ambitions, and how are you approaching all of those?
You know, we are bringing our brand to the next level of our kind of vision, if you will. And when I started out, it was really around addressing category headwinds around trust and community building and making sure people felt like the financial services we have and offer were for them. And we made such gains in that space at the community level and addressing kind of how to speak to individuals where we're building and encouraging trust. And now we're layering onto that how we serve with deep knowledge and expertise across a range of audience profiles. So, thinking about how we demonstrate that increasingly sophisticated financial services brand to our key audiences through unexpected channels. We compete with the big four banks. We're outspent probably 10 to 1. And so when we think about how our work needs to work for the business, it has to be incredibly effective and efficient. And so as we think about how to do that, I'm excited about some of the innovative approaches we're taking to put our brand and culture and provide even greater visibility and relevancy to the audiences we're trying to reach. And we're doing that through some cool activations. Maybe I'll share a couple of them.
Yeah.
Uh, we have launched some new partnerships, one with the Premier Lacrosse League. We're an early stage partner in their growth journey as a league, reaching audiences that are participating in the sport. It's growing really quickly, but also innovative plays like in film activations, which is new for our brand and coming soon.
In film.
In film.
Interesting. What does that mean? Like
So
in the movie?
in a movie, like a product placement.
Got it. Got it. What was the first one? Was that the Reese's Pieces ET, like
I
that type of
mean,
thing?
the classic, right? And then
Yeah.
something more recent like Stranger Things and some of the integrations they had. Really well
Mhm.
done.
Got it. So when you're looking at ways to implement these activations, is there like a larger brand campaign that is like a North Star that they can fall under, like a larger strategy? Like, can you talk more about that? How do you make these decisions to choose the Premier Lacrosse League? Like, why? Like,
Yeah.
there's obviously some demographics there that you're trying to get involved with. Can you talk about the strategies overall?
The strategy that we set starting back last year was to demonstrate our unique form of partnership to some of the audiences we're trying to really win with, which includes young and emerging affluent audiences, midlife audience, affluent audiences, and financial decision makers. It's not a small brief. It's got everything in the kitchen sink in it because our business is complex and there are so many audiences we need to reach and move.
Mm-hmm.
But what we attempted to do through our brief and our campaign that we launched last year and are continuing this year is to bring the idea of the power of us forward. And what we mean by the power of us is this unique approach to building success on the journey together. And so our wonderful and iconic brand assets, US Bank, the playful US and the Shield, demonstrates this idea of working together, and that when we work together, more is possible for everyone and we can achieve our best. That
I
idea is
love
coming
that.
forward through our campaign, and it's demonstrating its efficacy in market as we've surpassed all the goals we set for it and have achieved some of the highest performing work at US Bank in our history.
Nice. Congrats on that. And then, so when you develop that strategy, then do you brief agencies? Is this internal teams? How does this work? And you're kind of at the center of it.
Yeah.
What's the strategy there?
In developing the brief, and it was robust, we worked in close partnership with our business line partners to really understand what their business was trying to accomplish in the year ahead and the audiences they needed to win with. And we looked for the unifying themes between them so we could come to an insight around how we uniquely serve these client types and what would kind of bring it to life for individuals. So we tried to connect our business, which our product is really important, the life journey of the clients we're trying to move. And this unique form of partnership was kind of the secret recipe for how to bring to life a story that could work across our whole enterprise, not just a retail consumer kind of focus, but rather reaching all the audiences we serve. We sat down, we briefed our agencies, all the way back last year. And in some situations, that process can take time. You brief it, you work back and forth, you're collaborating with one another, you're collaborating with your internal business partners to try to find the right kind of sweet spot and get feedback. It was very iterative. And what's been awesome about the way we're building work now, right now we're working with Supergood. They've been incredible, is that we're able to leverage AI and insights about our audience types through their platform to help us in real time respond to what our audiences are interested in, the work that we're developing, and how the messaging is breaking through so that we can arrive at this more efficient and effective message and market. Is that
Interesting. Yeah.
helpful? Yeah.
Yeah. I know Super Good. They definitely are a creative AI agency hybrid. It seems like they are at the forefront right now. They're doing a great job implementing those systems within their within their creative process. So I love that. And yeah, you were probably very much involved in the back and forth. I think what people need to realize today, it's like no longer does the agency like go away for 3-4 months, then come back with one idea. Like, how involved were you in that process throughout?
Very involved, very involved. What I will say is the black box works for magic, but it doesn't work for the way that marketing is working today. Like it is really important, and not just agency and head of brand or your kind of key client to be involved, but also your business partners. The work is moving really quickly because we all are trying to, develop and be relevant, our content and creative, even more so than in the past. And so that back and forth iterative approach where you can kind of start in pencil, work together, refine an idea, add to an idea is really helpful. And for our agency teams, they're working, of course, with me, but also my team. And we're working with my CMO, who's exceptional at providing, insight that can help us dial in an idea even further. And so when we kind of all come to this transparent, willing to collaborate kind of alignment, the work just gets stronger at every turn. And so instead of feeling, precious and worried or anxious about those moments with your leaders on the client side, you really can build a partnership where you're in it together, co-creating, if you will.
So, if you were to give advice to a marketing professional that is about to brief a creative agency, or they have that on the horizon, they have to come up with the brief, and it gets approved, and they're going to brief it to the agency. What advice do you have for that marketing professional?
Let go of perfect. I tell my team all the time, let's go for progress, not perfection. Because as soon as you remove the constraints of everything being perfect, you can get yourself into a place that's a little more agile, a little bit more growth oriented in your mindset, and you can build something together where an idea goes from a kernel to one that somebody adds on to, and suddenly you've got something big and beautiful popping up, you know? But it does take a frame of mind to say, like, I'm not perfect. This isn't perfect. Let's work on it together and make it something great.
Mm. And then what do you wish you could tell creative agency professionals about your side of the business that they might not know, something that you just want to scream to them?
You know, I'll share what somebody shared with me once on the agency side that I thought was so helpful and valuable. Often, the conversations with your agency partners are the best 2% of somebody's day and work
Yeah.
across the week. And the creative agency is sweating love, blood, tears, pizza, late nights and hours on something that's, incredibly important to move the needle forward. And your partner on the other side of the table, they are sweating blood, sweat, tears, late nights, and pizza on other sorts of activities to drive the business forward. And so the encouragement that was given to me at the time is just know that you're the best 2% of their day. They want to be in it with you. And also they won't be able to give it what you give it. So you have to kind of understand where each other are coming from to get the best out of both worlds and move forward. And as I say that, the in between the lines comment is try not to be precious about the work as they try to work with you, be open-minded, and also, stand up for your idea, defend it, advocate for it, but then also know when you reach a line of like, okay, we've talked it through, they understand where I'm coming from. Maybe I need to be less precious now and refine to something else. Hopefully that's
Yeah.
helpful.
No, it's easier said than done, right? Like I've never really done this before, but I can imagine a creative agency professional, CCO, presents an idea. They want to defend it very badly. It's a fine line between persuasion and like pushing too hard or giving up too soon. It's like that right balance there. Do you have any like lessons from like brilliant creative professionals that you've worked with that that you want to share with our agency listeners?
Don't be afraid to let it rest. In cooking, there's times when you let the meat rest or you let it
Mm-hmm.
marinate, you give it space. Sometimes when you reach those moments with a client where you're like, oh, they're not getting it, or oh, I wish this idea was just like I thought they were just going to buy it on the spot. It was going to be amazing. We're going to move on. Don't be afraid to give it space. Let your
Yeah.
client catch up. Let them think about it. Take a walk with the dog. Let the idea kind of, rest, if you will, and come back to it. But if
Yeah.
you find yourself where it feels like you've gone after the same kind of rationale over and over, don't be afraid to say, "Okay, I hear you. Let us think about it and come back afresh."
Yeah. Yeah, no, I that's great advice because I would if I was really passionate about something, I would just want to keep hounding you and like text you and call you. It's like this is great. Come on, don't give up on it. But that might be incorrect
Sometimes,
philosophy.
sometimes the idea is amazing and it's the wrong time. I've had this happen in my career, probably more than once now because I've got a few years under my belt. But sometimes the idea is ahead of its time. And to give it a little space will allow it to reach the right moment or the business to catch up, and then you can bring things together. Um, that can actually be an incredible win, also, if you allow yourself to see the opportunity in what might feel like a pause and come back to it.
I would have to imagine it's probably very beneficial for you to explain. Like, and it's so important. I would even go to say to explain why an idea might not work at this moment or what the issue is, rather than saying, no, I don't like it."
Yeah,
Uh,
no,
you
this is
have to
not an
give
I
some
don't like
feedback.
a game. Do not play the I do not like a game. Is it red? Is it blue? You'll never
Well, you
win.
have that power. You could very much say, "I don't like it. Well, show me 20 more by tomorrow."
I probably wouldn't have very good agency partners. I'd burn through them all. What I find to be effective is tell me more. I often ask design teams, especially designers, because they're brilliant, to ask them to share with you how they came to an idea, what they were thinking about, what inspired them. Tell me more. Because there's a lot of intention, I find. And I learned this through my work in branding and design firms that every thoughtful color choice, every pixel, every word, every way of assembling the idea is so intentional. And when you start to unpack the intention behind things, you might find an adjustment that is very small that can take an idea from the no pile to the yes pile very quickly. And so I've throughout my career have tried to remain very open-minded on ideas, even the ones that feel not quite there, to just understand, seek to learn, get curious, and dig in with tactics like tell me more.
I love that. So you've mentioned it a couple times now. I'd like to kick things back and understand how you broke into this business, how you got to the marketing side, but you've alluded to this already that you've worked on the branding agency side as well. So we love that balance. So at what point did a young Brooke say to herself, I want to make ads or be a part of the ad making process for a living?
Oh my gosh. So there was a pivotal moment in my career. I'll back way up and give you the short version of a long story. Um, I had interned everywhere in college. I studied political science and strategic communication, which at that time was called journalism, but like it pivoted strategic communication. And I had interned everywhere. I was on the Hill in the Senate. I was at a lobbyist firm. I was at a newspaper. I was at a publishing company. And I ended up at a marketing firm, independently held and owned, with one of the best marketers I've ever met. I've worked with her 3 times over, and I would work with her again in a minute. As I was working in this internship, it was 8 weeks long. I was in project management. And I remember sitting down across from the CEO, being offered a full-time job. I was still full-time in school my senior year at the University of Minnesota. And he said, you've just gotten your hardest ever to get marketing position, and it's your very first one. And I was elated. Like, that was amazing. Coming in out of school at that time, it was a difficult job market, and that was terrific. But I had this itch. I had this itch to do something in public service, and I couldn't turn it off. And so after about 6 months in that role, I went to try it out as a marketing manager, actually in a quasi-government organization, which is kind of wacky and a little, hard to explain to your creative friends
No clue
in the
what that
marketing
means. I have no
agency.
clue what that means.
They are like, why are you going to work for a public transit system? What's wrong with you? Do you know what you're signing up for? Are they going to make you wear a uniform? I remember the creative director asking me. I was like, no, I'm not going to wear a uniform. And no, I'm not going to drive a bus. But I had the opportunity to work with an incredible leader there who set the bar for our ambitions higher than I could have ever imagined. He was a marketer himself in hiding. And it gave me an awesome opportunity to get to know stakeholder management, how to work with really complex negotiations, how to secure funding in incredibly competitive processes, and practice all my persuasion skills and stakeholder management skills through that work. But I remember as I was, 23-ish years old, being sent to executive development, how to run a public transit system for our country, thinking, this is not my path. I want to be a marketer. How do I get myself back into a marketing role that's, hopefully at the Fortune 100 level? And I was looking around back in the day, like hiring postings, and what did it look like to be a successful brand manager, marketing manager inside a Fortune 100 company? And I quickly came to realize you had to have a master's in business, or it was just never going to happen for you. And so I took that insight and went back to school in an executive program while I was working full time. And lucky for me, one of those incredible leaders I met through my intern experiences hired me on at Martin Williams Advertising, where I got to work as a response planner in what we would call today probably performance marketing, but back then we called it direct response. And I got to take all those skills from public service and put them to work on new business pitching. And that just clicked for me. I loved it. We sold our first social media campaigns and did tremendous work. And that moment for me was when it all really started to stick. And I remember saying out loud to that leader, like, I think I'd like to be a CMO someday. And she's like, great, let's figure out how to get you the skills you need to put you on a path to get there.
So you got your MBA, is that correct to say?
Yep.
And then after that you landed in an ad agency. Is that also fair to
I
say?
made the pivot at the same time. I went back to school to get my MBA, and I left the role I had been in and went to work at Martin Williams Advertising, which was part of Omnicom,
Okay.
and did those two things at the same time. So working in
Oh my goodness.
advertising, getting my MBA, it was like learning on, I don't know, learning on rocket fuel. It was just incredible how much learning was possible through those two experiences happening at the same time.
Clarify then, what do you break into after the MBA program?
So yes, I did go to school in an executive MBA program at night
Mhm.
while I was working in advertising at Martin Williams. The connection there was awesome. I was working across a whole range of industries and client types, also part of a holding company. So you were just able to see a lot of different models of what marketing success looked like. The opportunities for development were rapid because the agency was at just this incredible inflection point, growing, scaling, and they had so many new business opportunities that we were able to pitch and practice a lot, which at that stage of your career, I was in my middle 20s, call it, was really remarkable. And it just put a lot of experience under the belt very quickly. As I kind of grew my skill set there, I became a candidate for roles. Then people would reach out, recruiters and such, and I ended up being recruited to a digital firm who at the time was building really tailored and custom experiences for brands like Hasbro and Scholastic and General Mills. And it was just too hard to turn down. So I took the opportunity, which was super hard to do because I was working with people I loved. I was having a blast. I was learning a lot, but I knew I wanted to have more digital in my toolbox. And so I made the leap to this smaller digital firm, spent a short time there. As it ended up not being a fit, and this is something we learn in our careers too. Like you make a move, and sometimes it's great, and sometimes it's not. And either way, you learn a lot. I encourage people not to get analysis paralysis as it comes to making career choices because we're smart, we're creative, we're resourceful. Like you will figure that stuff out. It's okay to make a leap. You want to do your homework. And I learned through that experience how important it is to do your homework, to talk with other recruiters, to talk with people who've worked there before, to get to know the CEO more closely. It's okay to maybe even ask to see the financials. Like, don't hold back. They can tell you no, but they'll respect you for asking. It's a long-winded way of saying, like, I took a leap, digital firm. And when it didn't work out, I left again. And I went to an in-house agency at Lifetime Fitness, which was an incredible opportunity. The founder was the CEO. He thinks of himself as a marketer, which is incredible. It was full of ideas and passion, um, very dynamic, had kind of collected talent from across town, built an in-house team that was awesome. And so I added all those skills to my toolbox next. And that was great. Sitting across from a CEO, learning by fire is my favorite way to learn because it's colorful and it's interesting and it keeps you on the edge of your seat. Um, and I did that for a while. Led their kind of marketing planning organization, brought together integrated planning there. And when I was ready to move on, I went to a branding and design firm. And that was amazing too.
Interesting. So, what was that switch like going from like the in-house agency sitting across from the CEO back to more of a traditional external agency, the branding and design, where you're not as close to the corporation or the brand?
I missed being that close to the brand and the
Yeah.
performance of the work
Hmm.
immediately. Um, what I loved about being in that part of that branding and design firm, which is called Little and Company, they're great. They're in Minneapolis. They're still doing great work. Um, I really started to appreciate how expansive the world of brand and design is. I had thought for a time that it might be limiting. I thought, well, is it so niche that I will end up doing the same kind of work over and over, or what will that look like? And I remember in my interview process talking with someone, and they said, actually, I found it to be the opposite. And she explained how she saw it as something, more um, expansive. And as I got into the work and started to lead the work, I led, first accounts and then the accounts team and then operations and ultimately in a role of managing director. It continued to just open up more possibilities to work with designers because they see things in a very open-ended state where anything is possible. And if you've got an idea or a strategy that's strong, you understand what you're trying to move, designers and writers and a branding and design firm can help you make it real. At that time, IDEO was another design firm that was just killing it. And they became kind of a model of what it looks like to solve problems. And I think about that experience a lot, and it sticks with me even today.
Got it. Got it. So you've kind of bounced then. So like the between the marketing roles, agency side here, and then how do we get to US Bank throughout all of this?
Yeah. The thing that drove me through all those experiences is just constantly curious about how things worked and then trying to go figure it out.
Mhm.
And it worked for me. It may not work for everyone, but when you gather career experiences that quickly, it can be really helpful longer term. And the networking, whether you're in New York or you're in Chicago or you're in the Twin Cities, or maybe you're trying to piece together where you want to be, it's the people that make magic happen. It was through my time at Little and the branding and design firm that I got to know US Bank, which is also headquartered in Minneapolis, and the leaders of the organizations were well aligned culturally. I had clients at US Bank. We ultimately pitched and won business to work through a repositioning of the brand way back, and then kind of stayed in touch over time, even as our relationship wound down. And a few years had gone by, and I received a phone call like, "Hey, you should think about this. There's this seat that's open, and it seems like it would be perfect for you." And just keeping good relations with people that you want to work with, being open
Mhm.
minded. At the time, I thought that is a crazy move, and I remember making a crazy move when I went to the transit system, and everybody thought I was nuts. And I knew leaving this incredible leadership role in one of the best branding and design firms to go to a bank was going to be like, what is that lady doing? But I was curious and I wanted to know more. And so I took the phone call, and that led to another phone call, and that led to another phone call. And then, time goes by, and eventually things come together. And I remember thinking I had never tried out a large corporate role before. I didn't know if I'd be any good at it. I didn't know if I would like it, but I was curious enough to give it a shot. And so I made the leap. And I will say that it has been a terrific. It had been a terrific move then. It continues to pay off now as people and roles and leadership change. There's newness everywhere, if you're looking for it.
I love it. So, what would you say to a young Brooke going back in time at University of Minnesota? If you can talk to her now, what would you say?
Think bigger, go bigger, try something bigger than you feel comfortable in, and don't be afraid of failing, because as you work through what might be the most grandiose ambition, you can always pull it back. You can always learn something if you fall on your face, but you have to have the willingness to like go seek it out and embark on something that maybe feels audacious. And your drivers as an individual are different than the people around you. Like it's not uncommon to find yourself saying to your group of friends, or maybe it's your family, like, I want to do this big crazy thing. And they might look at you like you're nuts, but they're not you, and they don't know what your superpowers are the way that you do. And you just got to go for it. And I would tell myself that over and over again if I had the opportunity.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, Brooke, thank you so much. How can people reach out to you if they want to say hello, learn more about you or US Bank, any positions that might be open, internships? What's the best way to go for all this?
Find me on LinkedIn. I love meeting people across the country. I have mentees across the country. I enjoy staying in touch with young people. It takes me time, so don't look for urgency from me because the days are
Mhm.
really full, but I will get in touch with you. That's probably the best way.
Well, Brooke, thank you so much for taking the time. I hope people reach out to you. I wish you all the best at US Bank.
It's been awesome, Gino. Thanks for having me here and sharing all the insights you're collecting with the community. It's terrific.
Thank you.